What if I told you there is a simple system that guarantees that I make at least 2 million naira every single month without chasing after clients or burning out? Now, before you say, oh, she has come again, it's not magic, it's strategy. And I am going to break it all down so that you can replicate it as well, even if you are just starting out on your journey. Before now, I used to rely on inconsistent strategy. So I do as a spirit lead. That's what some people call hope marketing. So I hope that, oh, this thing works. So I hope that it comes, right? And I used to feel like very burnt out and discouraged, right? Until I decided to create a system. So one of the key things that I realized before I talk about this system is that it's not just about creating offers. Oh, I have this offer, badass offer. It's good to create offers, but you also need to pay attention to your positioning, your relationships, and then also knowing how to work the numbers in your favor. I am going to break down this simple system for you so you can see how to replicate it in your own brand as well. Number one, for the system, before you build the system first, the first thing you need is clarity. You need to understand what you're building. And for many people who are just starting out, you cannot have that stability in your finances if you don't even understand what you're trying to do. And people who are already running their businesses, you need to actually have a clear understanding of who you are, what you're doing, and what problem you're solving. These are really simple questions, and I'm very sure that this is not the first time you've heard people or someone else say this. So who you are, who is your brand, what do you want to be known for? So what problem are you solving regarding social media management? You cannot just say, I help people manage their page. You need to sit down and think of a tangible problem you solve based on your expertise and the capacity that you have. Then the final one is, what do you stand for? Right? You need to know what you stand for. As somebody who does social media management, there are some things that people do in terms of social media management that you may not entirely stand for. For example, buying of followers. There are social media managers that stand for that. So if you don't stand for that, you have to make sure that you emphasize it and you have that clarity. These are things I cannot do as a social media manager, and these are things that I can do for my clients to help them get the result as a social media manager. You need to have that understanding. For example, one of the things that in my own brand, over time, the thing that you stand for can change over time, but it's tied to your value, right, and your experiences. Now, I cannot launch a course for somebody if you come to me that you want to launch a course and you're like, oh, I want to launch a course next week, let's start working together. I'm not going to work with you. And if you want to launch a course, the minimum is 10 weeks. If you cannot allow me for 10 weeks to work with you to launch your course, then we cannot work together. All right. So you need to understand what you stand for as a brand. And so once you understand these three things, you'll be able to now know how to build your system around these things. Because if you don't have clarity first, then you will struggle to be able to build a system. So now let's talk about the system, right? What is the system that I use to ensure that I make at least 2 million naira every month without chasing clients or burning out? So the first one is the win-win mindset, right? So anytime I put things out to do promotion, I have the understanding that not everybody will buy. And in fact, I'm not even pushing my stuff for them to buy immediately, right? I'm trying to get them in, let them get familiar with me. So how the win-win mindset work is that, let's say, for example, you find my webinar and you register to attend my webinar. Even though you don't buy from me, I will encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now that's a win-win, because indirectly, I will still make money from you, even if you're not buying directly from me. So that's how the win-win situation works. So if you have that mindset, and that's the number one step of the system that I use. So if I cannot get you to pay me ASAP immediately, what can I get from you in return that will still drive me to my goal in my business for that month or the next month? Now, number two is understanding your customer window, your buyer's window. Like, how long will it take an ideal customer in your brand to go from inquiry or to finding you to eventually buying from you? Like for me, I chose the 30-day window because that's the pattern that I have seen. So you need to pay attention to the pattern in your business and how people are buying, how long it takes them to buy. But if you're just starting out and you don't have people buying from you yet, you could use the 30-day window and say, okay, From the point where you know my brand to the point where you start buying from me, it will take 30 days. So what that means is that you need to get as many people in, nurture them for 30 days. So while those people are getting into 30 days window, you are bringing in new people who would, you start preparing for the next 30 days. That's how you start doing it, right? Now, this leads me to the third step in the system, which is working your numbers in your favor. Exactly. So how does that work? What that means is that you need to understand your conversion percentage in your business. So you see, everything I'm saying right now has to do with paying attention, studying the patterns in your business, whether you're just starting or you're not just starting. So if you're just starting, you don't have customers, you're studying the patterns in the industry and the niche that you are in, and what is the ideal window. And like I said, you can just start with a 30-day window if that's what works for you. Depending on what you're selling, there are some windows that that are like 7 days, 14 days, or even longer. If you're selling real estate, for example, 30-day window might not be it for you, because real estate is something that is a major life decision. Yeah. So it might take more than 30 days, right? For some people, it might be a want, and for some people, it might be a need, but it's not an immediate need. So you see the difference of what I'm trying to say here. So now let's talk about working your numbers in your favor. So you need to know how many people what percentage of people who show interest in what you're selling would actually buy from you, right? In my brand, I have like a 10 to 20% conversion rate. But when I want to do my planning, I plan with 5 to 10%. Why do I do that? I do that because I say, like, in the worst case scenario, let's say this time around things didn't go as, marketing, I know how marketing can be. Marketing is not static, even though this is how it works. You also have to plan for the uncertainties. You get what I mean, right? So that way I try to work with a lower percentage of 5 to 10%. So I just recently launched a program, like a 10 weeks retreat, and I just needed 20 people. That is the nature of the retreat. It's not because of, I cannot sell to more than 20. I just needed, in fact, I had people who still wanted to join after we got 20, and I said no. I just needed 20 people because the retreat is practical and I will need time to be able to show up for everybody. So, and it was a $375 program. And what I did, if I needed 20 people with a 10% conversion rate, that means I needed at least 200 people to show interest. If I'm working with a 5% conversion rate, I needed 400 people to show interest, right? And now going back to conversion window, I knew that my conversion window was 30 days and the program was supposed to start February 22. But I didn't start promoting it in the first week of February because I know it's 30 days. So I started in the second week of January. I started nurturing them with emails, content, and all of that. And before we even got to February, middle of February, I've already had all the 20 people that I was looking for. So you see, I need to understand your conversion window. When you understand your conversion window, you will know when you can start marketing and start doing your promotions, right? And then when you now understand your numbers, in that 30 days, I set up a webinar and I asked people to register for the webinar because I wanted to know people who are interested in this retreat. So I used that webinar to separate them from the general crowd on social media and everything, and even from my email list. I created a webinar, send them to my YouTube to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You see the win-win? So I created a webinar as a register. I send them to my YouTube to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Are you seeing that win-win? So after they subscribe, we did the webinar. I sold on the webinar and some people bought and some did not. Right, I'm going to tell you what happened to those people that did not buy. That will be the next point that I'm going to be sharing with you, right? So you see how the win-win, the 13-day window, and then knowing working your number in your favor actually comes into play. Now, when we did a webinar promotion, I actually exceeded the 400 people that I was looking for. I got over 600 people in the funnel. Now, what do I do with those 600? I'm not just going to leave them there. I have a nurturing process. So that's the next step. You nurture these people. So I have the nurturing process where every week I send emails and I send WhatsApp messages to the leads that I've generated over time. I've been able to generate over 10,000 leads and I nurture them every single week. So week in, week out, month in, month out, I have people in my pipeline that I can keep reaching out to that will eventually buy from me. So you see how I'm not burning out, I'm not chasing after clients because I have a lot of people in my pipeline. So that's nurturing. So I send emails every week, I send WhatsApp messages weekly, one to nurture. Then at the end of the month, I now do sales campaigns that I used to sell specific services, specific products, and that way I'm able to get at least 2 million naira every month I get more than that, most times, but in bad as in bad, I get at least 2 million with that system. All right. So the final one that I'm going to talk about is positioning, right? I don't want to end this presentation without talking about positioning because it is very, very important, right? Positioning helps people to see you as somebody that they can believe in, they can trust in, to get into your pipeline, to want to pay you the money and all of those things. You want to make sure that you also position your brand as a brand that people want to work with, right? From showing that you're an expert to showing that you care about, solving problem for your audience or your prospect than just making money. Right? If they just say that, oh, you're just caring about, oh, I just want to make the sale and move, I just want to make the sale and move, it will be very hard for these people to trust you. There's this common saying that if you chase the money, you will not find it, or if you chase the value, the money will come, something like that. So I'm not saying that give value without putting out your services, putting out your product. No. Give value, put out your product and put out your services, but let them see that concern where you go the extra mile for the people that you serve, in terms of how you show up on social media, in terms of how you render your services, how you sell your products and your courses and whatever thing that you're putting out there, right? So this is one thing you need to really pay attention to in terms of positioning. Then another key bonus I'm just going to share with you is building community, right? Your audience and your customers, your prospects, they need to feel a sense of community with you. So this way, you don't run around, you don't start chasing things around, because when you build a sense of community, these same people people talk. These same people will go and talk, oh, this, hello, yes, so this one, oh yeah, and before you know, there's already an interconnection of people coming to you without you even asking for referral. Indirectly, you're building an evangelist, right? So these are things that you need to pay attention to, and this is what I do for my own brand to ensure that I make a minimum of at least 2 million every month. Yeah, I hope that this will help you, whether you're just starting out or already building your brand, and I hope you would implement this. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And if you'd like to speak with me, I have embedded my link to book a one-on-one consultation session with me, so that we can go over your strategy, we could go over your sales plans and anything that you want to do in terms of launching your courses, your services, whatever it is. The link is in the description and also in the comment section pinned as well. So for those who don't have clarity about their brand, which is the first thing I talked about, you can get a copy of my book, my Brand Clarity Handbook, that would help you understand who you are, what you stand for, and also the problem that you're trying to solve. All right, so that's all for today. If you have any question as well, feel free to drop it in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.